Good afternoon, adventurers! Woo! You know, it's Friday. It is time for John's Dungeon Corner right here at the Collective in Altamont Springs, Florida, where it is partly sunny, 83 degrees. I don't know what the weather's like around the rest of the country, but it is nice. Just enough cloud cover to make it nice. You can go to the beach because it's so nice. But now let's talk about Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, listen, I'm not going to keep you guys long, but yes, I did see the movie, and yes, I give it 2 thumbs up. See, 2 thumbs up. Ooh, balance it out. Perfect. All right, we're going to talk about my rating. I gave it 3 stars, but we're going to talk about that next week because we got something special going on. As you can tell, hey, Donna, how you doing? Danny, what's up? How you doing? Welcome to the show, man. It's going to be a cool show. Wait till you see what's about to happen here. So, MegaCon, yes, I did go. I went out there Thursday because it was a crazy weekend for me. Yes, I did go out to the theater, and that was up to the people who showed up and kind of stopped by and said hi out at the theater. Thank you for coming by. It was great seeing you. Hope to see you here on a Wednesday night. And for everybody else, hey, bud, how are you? Welcome to the show. Everybody's popping in. It's going to be a special show. So we've been talking about painting miniatures, right? How to paint them, what to do when we paint them. And I kept telling you, I'm going to find somebody. I know somebody. And sometimes, you know what? It's not what you know, it's who you know. And I happen to know this young lady who's simply fabulous at painting miniatures. I've been watching her now, for a couple of years, you know, and it's like so cool to see it. I've seen her do real meticulous painting. I've seen her do the speed painting and everything in between. We got monsters, we got characters, we got mountains and dungeons and you name it, and she's probably painted it. So without any further ado, because this is what I do, I'm going to bring up Fiona from the Collective, and she is going to talk painting.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Hey, hi everybody. So we get a lot of questions about painting. How do you paint? How do you start? So I'm going to run through some quick things, and I'm just going to run with it and try and keep up. One of the things that I always get asked is, what is the best thing to buy? Whether it's brushes, whether it's primers, whether it's paints, my answer will always be, the best thing to buy is the thing that's going to work, because you don't want to spend money on things that don't work. So, you know, we try and make sure we get the right tools. As you can see, I have a whole bundle of brushes. And, you know, you don't need these many brushes to start with, but I wanted to give you a good line on different types of brushes. So to start with, you need a fine brush, you need a brush that's like a little thicker, and then you need a flat brush.
Watch this. Pick up the camera, bring it around, and get it closer. All right, let's see a close-up of those brushes.
So there you go. Can you see those a little better?
You know what? I tell you guys, not to interrupt you, but I always tell you, you gotta come to the Collective when she's here, and then you will see, like everything else in the store, you'll see it live.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, how much do you spend on a brush? Well, you know, I always say support your local game store, because if you do, they keep bringing in the new stuff to us, and companies are always putting out new stuff. So you can spend $1, couple of dollars, you'll get a standard kind of brush. It'll be a synthetic bristle. How long will it last? Who knows, but it will do the job at least 3 times. Or you can spend $20 on a brush. Now this one, it's real tiny. It's like this tall and probably about 15 hairs. Woo! Now, what made it a $20 brush? There's an international company called Kolinsky, and they are world-renowned.
Chad!
And their bristles are always natural bristles, and that's why it's a $20 brush. This brush inspired me to spend $5 on a brush soap, because the brush soap will condition it as well as clean it. So I have a broad price range. I have this kind of brush, big and fat. If I'm doing terrain, I need to lay down a lot of color real quick. So, you know, buy the thing that works. So put those to the side there. If you have a palette, You can do palette paper. It's shiny on one side. You can get a ceramic palette. You can get a wet palette, or just use one of your mum's old plates, put some saran wrap over that. You're good to go. So that's your brushes. Primers. Primers is a big question. So there's three ways to do priming. You can do brush it on, you can airbrush it, or you can use a can. Now these cans, call them rattle cans, because when you shake them, you hear that ball rattling around. What that does is it's stirring everything up. Now, a lot of people kind of like, do I really need to spend money on buying one of these? It's a good value, it lasts a long time, and it's hobby specific. A lot of people say, oh, but I can go buy it at a hardware store cheaper. Problem is, those have solvents in it, and if you're trying to prime a plastic or a 3D printed product, you could end up damaging it, or it doesn't dry. So you end up having to take the paint off.
Before we forget primers, because I brought this up.
Yep.
So why is it important the primer miniature is not pre-primered? And after you get done with that, let's talk about the pre-primered ones.
Okay. So with the priming, it means that your paint, when you brush it on,
your hair is very pretty.
Oh, thank you.
See, this is all interactive. This is live, you know.
Well, I can't read that at this point.
Oh, it says your hair is so pretty.
Thank you.
It's purple.
Miniatures, metal miniatures, 3D printed miniatures, and some of the plastic miniatures don't come pre-primed. So you need to prime them. So a rattle can, hobby specific, it's a good investment, and it's easy to do.
Yes.
If you want to do an airbrush type, you get a thinner coat, but just as good. Now, if you're doing styrofoam for your terrain, you need to use a styrofoam specific primer, because if you use this kind of primer on styrofoam, it melts your styrofoam. So use a styrofoam specific primer.
Wait, before you go too far, Rena wants to know, and please talk about priming in white versus other colors.
That's my next step.
That's our next step anyway. Look at that. We're all right on the same track. I love priming in white.
Now, I have the same miniature. This one's really cute. He's so pretty. He's all those colors, primed in black. He took me 10 to 12 hours to paint because he's all those pretty colors.
Oh, wait. I know how to do this. There he is. Look at that, huh?
So you have to be real precise with where you're laying down all those different colors.
That's the one in black.
Now, this one also primed in black, but that one only took me 3 hours to paint because I dry brushed him all the same base gold color. So, you know, he looks good, all primed in black. Now, these two, I'm in the process, but this one I primed gray, this one I primed white, and if you look at the shield in comparison to the shield of that guy, that will show you what the difference is when you prime.
This is white.
No, gray.
Oh, this is gray. This is black.
And then.
Okay, so this is gray. Here's the black.
Now, this one I primed in white, and check out the difference against the black.
Okay, there it is. Let's see if I can do this like, oh, I know how. Like this. Ta-da! Look at that.
And look at how much of a difference that white primer makes in comparison to the black. And they were all just dry brushed with the exact same color.
There we go.
So that's what the difference is with priming colors. There is a thing called zenithal priming or grayscale priming. And because most often we paint our miniatures from the top down as if we're looking down on them, they say spray paint it black and then do gray at a 45-degree angle and the white from the top down. And then that will show you where all the highlights are.
There we go. I even learned something. Look at that.
So, you know, that's the way to do it, but it's kind of fussy. I'm like, do you want your deep, dark jewel tones and it's a dark figure? Go for black. If you want him to be a paladin and he walks in a straight line only, go for white. And if you saw D&D, you know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Oh, so wait, now the pre-primer miniatures.
Yep, the pre-prime miniatures, they are awesome. I can pull it off the rack, sit at the table, open up my paints, and there we go. We are ready to paint.
Ready to paint.
Yes.
I like it.
So that's why I love the pre-prime miniatures. Now, sometimes they'll have some mold lines. If you want to cut those mold lines back, you will need to prime it. And if you want to use your spray-on primer, but you don't want to spray the whole figure, get yourself a little cup, take your spray-on primer, go outside, spray it in the cup. All of that solvent and propellant will go away, and you'll be left with the primer paint in the bottom, so you can still use that as a brush-on primer. So that's a little hack for you, so you get more use out of your spray-on primers. So
Good stuff.
I love pre-primed, and you have such a broad range of pre-primed miniatures available. You go to your local game store, so check it out. And it's great to try out new concepts for painting. You know, look on YouTube, you will see all the content creators.
We like hacks.
Absolutely.
Like hacks.
If you are mixing your paints, like you want a specific color, don't mix it with your brush, because that'll mess up your bristles. Use toothpicks. You get one end, you get another end. Break it in half, you get another two. So you get 6 uses out of a single toothpick to mix your paint on your palette.
And if you got something in your teeth, you can pick it.
Yep. Now, if you're going to be spending a lot of hours doing your painting, get a holder. Either these that are purpose-built, so they sit in your hand, or use a little juice bottle or a water bottle, and you can use sticky tack on the top like this, or you can use the 3M double-sided foam tape. And that way it's easier if your hand holds. You're not going to get hand fatigue. Protect yourself from carpal tunnel. Awesome. Another thing, if you're painting, they're tiny. If you can look at it without straining, that's awesome. But you know what? You're going to be squinting anyway to focus on a small thing. Don't give yourself eye problems later in life. Go buy a couple of cheap readers at the store, and just to magnify it a little bit. If you've got a third hand or a magnifier at home that's freestanding, use it, or you can pick up one of these.
Oh,
They're
I have a
real
pair of
cheap
those. They're awesome.
And interchangeable, so as your eyesight fails, you can use more magnification.
Well, that's
it's
not why.
awesome. And also a good light source. You know, you can get any kind of light, but to have a good light source for doing your miniature painting, go for a daylight bulb or a cool white LED light, and that gives you a better registration of the paint color that you're going to use. Now, I love speed paints. Now, all the brands that make the paints out there, they all have some kind of contrast, speed paint, quick paint. So they're all going to have something that you're going to use in a quick manner. That's going to give you the highlight, the shadow, and the mid-tone in one stroke.
One
We
stroke.
love it. It's
yeah,
awesome.
we do.
So I have 2 figures here, and it took me more time to decide what colors to paint than to actually paint. Both of these, I spent 5 minutes painting them.
5 minutes. Look at that.
You know, and you can
Look at
see
that.
you've got your shading, you've got some detail.
Looks
Yeah.
really neat.
Yeah, you know, so speed
Look at that.
painting is really great.
Wow, that's cool.
Now you have your core colors. If you would get me those 2 black
Will
cases.
do. Will do. Look at this.
So
Wow, these are heavy. What is in here, I wonder?
these are my paints.
Oh, her paints.
Now
Look out.
I bring these when I come here to paint. I don't mind sharing them with people.
Now, talk about when are you here?
I
Let's talk
am,
about that.
all right, this month I am here tomorrow
Tomorrow. Okay.
on Saturday between 10 and 2. And then in May, I am the second Saturday in May.
Second Saturday in May. So it's either the first or second Saturdays usually?
It's generally the first Saturday,
Okay.
but because this month we had MegaCon, and next month the first Saturday is Free Comic Book Day.
Free comic. That's right.
I'm not going to play around with that.
No, no.
I read
Whew.
comics.
Busy, 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 busy.
Yep. And you know what? I play so many tabletop role-playing games. You know, I can come here on a Wednesday. They run games on,
Dungeons and
Saturdays.
Dragons.
yeah, D&D. That's the old style.
D&D.
I've played sci-fi games. I have played Pathfinder. You know, I've played them all pretty
I
much.
painted them all.
Yes, painted them all. So these are my core colors here. And if anyone wants to know, this is a essential oil case.
Bravo.
They fit the dripper bottles perfectly. So, and these were like $20 a pop. So not a bad option, and they're compact. And what I like about the dripper bottles, has a little depression there, so I can put a dot of the color on there, so I know what color I'm looking at.
In case you're wondering, there's 70 bottles in there.
And
70. Oh, wait for it.
There's more.
There may be more.
Not as many in here, but
Oh, wow, look at this.
these are my metallics. These are the airbrush paints, and these are the speed paints
Speed
that I'm going to be using live to do a quick paint for you.
Okay, see, I told you didn't want to miss the show. This one is live. She's going to do it live. Speed painting. You can see it.
Core colors, they're acrylics.
I like the way you have that set up. I'm going to have to steal that idea.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, you just zip it up, and there you go.
Over 100 paints in 2 cases. Wow. I love it.
Now, paints generally come with 3 basic ingredients. You have the pigment, you have the suspension, which is what it's suspended in, and you have a binder that makes those 2 come together. It's kind of like Jell-O. You have the color or flavor for your Jell-O, you have the gelatin, and then you have the water. The water is your suspension, the gelatin is your binder, and then you have your color and your flavor. Put it together, you've got Jell-O.
A note, do not eat your paints. Just because it sounds like Jell-O and looks like Jell-O, it will absolutely not taste like Jell-O.
Now, when you're doing your paints, if the formulation's not right, it's like Jell-O again. If you have too much water, it's sloppy, doesn't settle. If you don't have enough water, then it's thick and it doesn't taste good. Like paint doesn't
Now
taste
she's
good.
talking about Jell-O here, okay? Let's put a disclaimer. We are not talking about eating the paint.
Now, there are specialty paints that are like washes, glazes, inks, and layering paints.
That's a lot of terminology.
And all that means is it's a regular paint that the company has made thinner, so it does more for you. So that's what your specialty paints are. And then the other quick thing, I'm going to be talking about the Army Painter speed paints with this, simply because what I love about Army Painter with their airbrushes and their speed paints, you can buy the medium so that you can make your standard paints act like a speed paint. So they have a very limited range for their speed paints, but I can make all the other colors out of the regular paints they already have.
So how do you do that since you're still getting ready? How do we take a regular paint, turn it into a speed paint?
All right. So with the regular paint, I will go 1 drop of the regular paint, 2 drops of the medium, mix it together. There we go. It's like speed paint.
There's a hack. That's a really good hack, because do you know how many different colors Army Painter actually has? I remember speed paints didn't come out 20 years ago. Speed paints have been around, what, a year?
A year.
A year. So they're still trying it out, making a formula better, but there's the hack. Take your favorite color, 1 drop, 2 drops, mix it up with the toothpick after you pick your teeth, because if you pick your teeth after, anyway.
Yeah. You get
anyway, you get the idea. Mix it up and off you go painting.
All right. So when you are there and you're trying to choose your colors, they look kind of concentrated and kind of dark, so don't be afraid. You know, you can always try it out, and I guarantee you, I will sit there and I will have stripes of paint on me where I have like, oh, let me try that color. Another hack for you, if you have a color and you want it to be a metallic color, put some gold with it if it's a warm tone. If it's a cool tone, put some silver with it. Mix it up. There you go. Now it's a metallic.
Another hack. Okay, so that's like 3 hacks.
You know, so it doesn't take long. But, you know, we also have
the metallics over there.
Yep.
I see it immediately.
This is the WizKids with Vallejo collaboration. So you get some Vallejo pounds. We're so spoiled here at the Collective. Here you go, the D&D monster set. And these always have on the back what you're going to get in the set. You know.
Good stuff all around.
And then this one we have
This
the
was really
speed
neat.
paint starter kit. So
Mhm.
again, gives you on the back what you can get in
So
that.
remember the hack. Take a regular color, 1 drop, 2 drops of medium, and pow.
And then this one here, this is awesome. This is a Game Master character starter set. So you get these colors
And
and you get these miniatures.
you get 5 miniatures in there. You can't beat it. It's
So you
amazing.
get a warlock, a fighter, a ranger, a dwarf, or a human rogue. Again, you get quite a bit in that pack.
Starting party.
And you know, we are really spoiled because
We are spoiled rotten, aren't we?
here at the collective, we have Citadel Paints, we have Army
Vallejo,
Painter, we
Vallejo.
have Vallejo, and then we have the
Oh, the-
Whiz Kids.
And the new prismatic paints.
Yep,
Oh
that's
my
the Whiz
gosh.
Kid set. So,
We're spoiled
all
rotten.
right,
Rotten.
so
And paintbrushes galore, by the way. All
Yes.
these paintbrushes, all the different sizes. Whew.
yep. Now there is one here that
Insane detail.
Army Painter does. No, it's called the Psycho.
Oh, the cycle. It's like a hair. I don't know. It's,
Now, this one, I know you can't see it at that level, but it is literally 2 millimeters tall. And I think it's 5 or 6 hairs. It is tiny.
Hey, it's called the cycle for a reason, okay?
Now, if you're going to do dry brushing, be aware that it's really hard on your brushes because this little brush, it's all kinds of frayed, you know. But if
That's
you're
what you
doing
want.
that's yeah, kind of. But when you're doing dry brushing, this is a makeup brush. It's called a brow brush. Works wonderful because it's a flat edge. 3 skills that are absolutely vital to know as a painter is how to thin your paints, how to dry brush, and how to use a wash. Know those 3, you're going to paint quick and you're going to have a lot of fun at it.
There you go.
So,
So let's see it.
all right, here we go. This is a Medusa character, and she's wearing a gown that wraps around her. She's got a gold headdress. So the metallic accents, I'm not going to do in speed paints. Speed paints, they're a different formulation from your standard paints because these are a resin-based suspension, whereas your regular paints are a water compatible suspension. So they're water soluble. These are also water soluble, but it's a little harder to dissolve it. But because they are a resin suspension, that's what gives you all of the quick response to all the different levels of detail on your miniature.
Look at that. The scientific reason why this stuff works.
So,
My idea is that, hey, it works.
yeah, it works. How does it work?
I don't know. I'm not
But
a
it
scientist.
works. So the idea is that you put, it's really watery. You put more on than you think you need and a little bit more. There we go. And then you have to let it dry. You will hear people say, oh, but you can't paint over it. Yes, you can. You just have to give it 72 hours to dry. And you can't put paints that you have thinned with water over the top of it. Yay, medium.
There you go. See?
So,
Here we go.
all right, I need glasses.
She needs their glasses. I wish I had more light. Maybe you want your light?
Nope, because
Nope.
we got good light here.
We got good light. See? We even got good light in the studio. That's why it's a studio, probably. So as she's doing that, as you can see, it doesn't take a lot. And one of these sets, especially like the speed set's like a small set. It has not small, it has like 12 different paints in it. It's enough to get you going. Some of the sets even come with brushes. Now there's a huge Army Painter set out there. It's almost a full collection. It's amazing. But you know, sometimes you use colors, sometimes you don't. You can buy them individually, you can buy them in small sets, you can buy the big sets. They come any which way you like them. I love the way Fiona. I've never seen the little cases, but I'm still that idea because I like that. You can, basically she has over 100 paints in 2 cases. She has the little dots at the top that let you know what color, so you don't have to pull it out. You just look at the top and go, okay, that one. So I'm loving it.
Now, also with paints, yeah, we spend the money on them, but don't be afraid to use them. Don't feel that you have to spread them out a lot because I used my paint sets for a class of 20 people a few weeks ago. I didn't even come close to running out.
20 people painting? Wow.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. It was a 2-hour class.
And this was here.
Yep.
Okay, so there it is. come down, and she's got some. Are you still doing the thing where you get the miniature, the paints, the brush, everything in the little box?
We're not doing that at this point because people were more like, well, I want to choose my miniature. I want to choose my brush.
Well, hey, there you go.
But if you come on down.
And you can bring your own miniature.
Yep. Bring your own paints if you have them. Or if you don't, you can use mine.
Look at that.
So,
it doesn't get any better than that. I can't. We just,
Because we're all about let you try it out and see if you like it. And then we'll talk about buying your own product.
All right.
Because you know what? There's nothing worse than, I spent all this money and I don't like it. So come on down, try it out. Oh, and also if you can't come on the weekend, third Wednesdays, I am here between 6 and 8.
Which is D&D night.
Yay!
That's right.
Yeah, I don't get to play D&D. I'm painting.
She's painting. Oh, she does. She sets up and immediately, she has a crowd. So get here early. As soon as she sits down, grab a seat. Although we always make more room for those who come in a little later. So don't sweat it.
Now, I have to tell you, when you are thinking of how to paint your miniature, what you're looking at is, does it have skin? What color is that skin? Is there hair, feather, fur, or fin? And that's going to change how you do things.
Do y'all catch that? Hair, feather,
fur or fin.
Fur or fin. That's pretty neat.
And then it's clothing and armor is your next step. So those are the things that you kind of like look at. And I tend to go either do the largest surface first or do the smallest, deepest detail last, because you can always go over where you think you've made a mistake and fix it up. So
there is hope.
There's always hope. There's never a mistake.
And then you just, if worst comes to worst, you put it in water and let it just whoop, and start over.
Yep. Start over.
I've done that many a time.
But you know what? Hold on to all of the ones that you have done as part of the process, because that lets you know how far along you've come.
There you go. All right, so what do we tell people who are always trying to make, like me, oh my gosh. Until, I got to admit, Duncan, he worked for a company. He was, Duncan from YouTube.
Yep.
He used to work for, GW,
yep.
the painter. I actually met him in Texas. I've told you guys this story, and my gosh, it would take me forever to paint a miniature because I wanted to paint it perfect. And his thing to me was, when I actually went out there and he stopped by, and Tony and I were playing at the Texas store, and I said, hey, he looked at the miniatures. He said, those are nice. I said, yeah, if it hadn't been for you, I never would even have this guy's painted, because I was always trying to make everything perfect. He says now, and he said the famous line, it just needs to be tabletop quality.
Yep.
And he picked up one of the miniatures, and he picked it up. He says, look, I can see, but when I put it down on there, I just see a nicely painted miniature. He actually said that, a nicely painted miniature. I was like, yeah. So from then on, tabletop quality. So what would you tell them? What would you say?
If someone's like, it's got to be, it doesn't have to be perfect. What I want it to do is, when it's sitting on the table, people can look at it and go, wow, that's awesome. Let me look at it. Damn, you're amazing. How'd you do that? And literally, you as the painter know, there's all those errors. But someone looking at it wouldn't know. Now, with this particular character, he's got this awesome red cloak. If he's sitting on the tabletop and I'm back here, I'm like, hey, can you move my character? He's the one with the red cloak. That's what you're looking for. How to identify your character.
I have a question. But what happens if you're traveling in a group and your whole group is called the Red Cloaks, and you each have to wear a red cloak? Now what?
Well, hopefully you have ranks. See, this one has his orange collar. He's special. He's a higher rank.
See what happens? There's always something.
There's always a way to differentiate.
So much for my red cloak concept.
And you know what? When people look at miniatures, they're sitting on a shelf or they're on a table. You want people to go, wow, that's an interesting character. And dang, it looks really good. And they'll look at it. Most people are not going to look at it closer than like 12 inches away. If they are, they're looking for a problem. So don't listen to it.
Those are your naysayers.
But that's what it is. You want it to be vivid enough that people are going to go, wow, that's interesting. Tell me about your character. And then that opens a whole other can of worms. But it's like this one they have the pictures and, this is a suggested color scheme. I have never painted the suggested
Not
color
once?
scheme. Not once.
Not once.
Because that's boring because they're always neutral colors. And I'm like, no, I don't do neutral.
Doesn't do neutral. I mean, for me, almost everything's purple. So you can always tell my managers they're purple.
And
My army is purple.
I think I'm going to do
My other army's a different color purple. My character, it's got purple in it. Trust me.
Yeah. So
I like
don't
purple.
sweat it. That's the big thing.
Cool.
And
That's good advice.
And that is the biggest thing that I had to get over was, oh my gosh, I know where all the problems are. Nobody else did. So why am I worried about it?
Exactly. I agree with you 110% now. A while back, I would have said, yeah, I don't think so. It has to be perfect, which means I'll never get my army painted.
Now,
That's what will happen, by the way. You'll never finish your army if you're trying to make it perfect.
Now, here's the thing. If you are doing an army, which is a lot of characters that all have similar coloring, your primers come in a range of different colors. So if your entire army, if their armor is all purple or all blue, buy that color primer. Paint them all that color. And then all you're doing is a little bit of detail to differentiate them and give you the ranks. And, oh, this guy has the heavy weaponry. Paint them all the same color, even their skin.
See, I told you all that before. If you look back, when we started talking about paintings, I told you about these colored primers that are wonderful.
Yes.
Take it from the expert.
Now,
she does do good work. I mean, you've seen, you have to come down and see these things in person. I'm telling you, everything is so much better when you can hold it.
Yes.
And when you can see her doing it, and like I've sat there and spent a half hour between while sessions going on just watching because it's amazing, and you learn stuff like how to water down normal colors and turn them into speed paints.
Well, and that's the thing too. Skin tones. Skin tones was always a problem because your skin tones were always limited in color.
Mm-hmm. True.
Well, you've got a lot more
True.
differentiation now. But what Army Painter did, and I absolutely love it, they have their skin tone set. And it's designed not only for different colors of skin, but they have tones that you can add in. So I think you get like 15 different colors. So because everybody's skin, are you a cool tone or are you a warm tone? It's like, ooh, are you summer, autumn, or winter? All of that you can do. And everybody has highlights. So you can do that. Now, if I'm doing a character that's a 28 millimeter standard D&D character, I'm not going to get a lot of graduation of color on the skin tone.
Because usually isn't much.
Yeah. But if I'm doing a 75 millimeter figure, then I'm going to be able to do all of those skin tones.
Like an ogre.
Now.
Nice big ogre. Giants.
Yeah.
Those kind of creatures, you're right. Especially when you're doing like the frost giants.
Yes.
Excuse me. I remember you doing that one with the one that came in the box set.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that thing was amazing. And the bigger they are, sometimes
the easier to paint.
It is. It's just there's a lot of skin there. There's a lot of that one had like the bear. I think it was a bear armor.
Yep.
That was amazing. I mean, the finished product was simply unbelievable. It was just wow. You're like wow.
Now, also protect yourself while you're painting.
Meaning?
Don't sit there for hours doing this. Every hour, get up, walk around the room, even if it's just walking around the kitchen.
Go get something to drink.
Yep. Stand up, stretch, take a few breaths, do this with your fingers, shake your hands, protect yourself from carpal tunnel and being hunched and giving yourself pain. Means that you'll be able to paint longer and you'll be better at it. Now, with this speed paint, all I am literally doing is just slopping it on and then letting it dry. And that's why it's a speed paint, because you literally just slap it on there. And don't try and spread it too far, because you're supposed to have it with some on there to let it dry. and it will do what it needs to do.
So so talk about the speed painting, because that's what you do. Are you going to do a class solely on? Are you kind of planning maybe in the next couple of months to do a speed painting class again?
We can. I think last year we had a game day,
Yes.
and I sat down and I did speed painting. It was before the speed paints came out.
You should have seen this. It was amazing.
And I had a timer set up, and it was literally, these are to be NPCs or terrain or monsters for your tabletop. And I think the most time I spent on any one miniature was like 50 minutes.
I think so.
A lot of them were like 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
It was amazing. It was
had
simply amazing.
3 monsters, 3 bits of terrain, and 3 characters. We had
All
so
that.
much
It was
fun.
that was a lot of fun watching too.
Because if you give yourself permission to not be perfect, you get so much more done and you get much better results. Because
I got to agree with her 110% on that one, because that was me.
yep,
Just ask any of my family on the chat.
this one, he's so pretty. He's got colorful armor.
Oh, he's
all
awesome.
the different colors. But I had to be very precise and do multiple layers. And
That's beautiful.
he was a chore, 10 to 12 hours. Here we go. He looks awesome, just as good. Took me 3 hours because I didn't care.
That's
He didn't
amazing,
have to
isn't
be
it?
Perfect.
You know, in a nice, excuse me, I ate a Snickers bar before and it's just caught there. But there's a nice in between all this also. There are miniatures in your armies that you're gonna go, well, this is my hero. That's the guy. That's this guy on the left, on your right as you're watching it. That's the one that took her a while. That's the one you invest at 5, 6, 7, 12 hours. Who cares? It's one of a kind. It's your general. It's your leader. He has to look like amazing. Like, the rest of them, rank and file. Whoop, here we go.
And that's the thing too. I am painting for tabletop most often. If I'm painting for competition or exhibition, I am going to spend that amount of time.
There you go.
You know, because I want that to look good.
Exactly. Well, yeah, sure. You're in a competition or you're in an exhibition, especially where she has pieces that are actually I'll tell you, it's amazing. The product speaks for itself. She had painted some miniatures, and gentleman came in here and saw them and said, "Hey, I love to buy that." It was the Nighthaunt. Remember? She had this gorgeous. I can't remember it's the female Nighthaunt.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. Oh my gosh! If I was a Nighthaunt player, I'd have wanted it because it was like in purples and pinks and blues.
Because again, not doing it in the expected colors, and I kind of kit bashed it where she was on a little pedestal, and it was she had attendants rather than just ghouls around her. And I changed it up a little bit, and to me it looked great. For the competition, they went, it's not what we expected as far as the paint colors. That's okay. I don't care.
Oh, no, well, she brought it in, and the guy begged her to buy it. In fact, she didn't sell it that day. She didn't sell it the second time. She didn't even sell it the third time. It was like about 4 or 5 months later. And she said, finally, she goes, okay, look, all right, fine. She gave in. I mean, he would not let go. He had to have that miniature, and it was beautiful. And it's not a small miniature. It stands about 4 or 5 inches.
No,
it's a tall one, isn't it?
On the pedestal, it was about 6.5, 7 inches.
So it's well, yeah, I guess that's about right. Yeah. It was it was gorgeous though. I mean, I tell you, I really enjoyed watching it and seeing it. It was on display here for a while, and he just would not let go until he got it.
And he also bought the Clockwork Dragon.
Oh, and the Clockwork Dragon. That's right. That was another amazing piece that she had done. So yeah. I mean, it's nice. Now, let me ask you. Yep. So, do you do commission work?
I do.
People have asked me online, "Hey, do you know anybody?" Because they text me or they email me and say, and I'm like, "Well, I'm not going to say that I don't know." So there you go. Yep. How would they get a hold of you? I guess here would be the best way, right?
Through here is probably the best way. Come see me, talk to me, tell me what it is that you want, and then we can talk about it from there. Basically, do you want an NPC? Do you want tabletop? Do you want display, or do you want competition? And where you go in there is where the price point is. And I'm not going to be crazy and tell you, it's $150 for tabletop.
I will, though. I'll get a commission. No, no, I'm just kidding. That's why she's here.
But that's where it's a case of it's individual, and depending on where you are in that spectrum is how many colors. Now, if you come to me with like a super cool concept, yeah, I might fudge a little.
There you go. See? So come and talk to her in person. I'm telling you, it's the best way. Come down first Saturday. It'll be the first Saturday tomorrow, and then the second Saturday of May.
And then after that, it's first Saturday. 10 a.m.
And every third Wednesday, she's here for D&D night. She's not really for the D&D, but it's D&D night.
All right. Now, as you can see, I have not changed my brush.
Not once, actually.
And that's only because I'm experienced. I know what I'm looking at. I know what this paint does. I know what I'm expecting it to do.
So what she's saying is clean your brush or change your brush depending on whether you're using light colors, dark colors, metallics.
Yep.
That's what she's actually saying it without saying it.
Now, when I have a great tendency to knock over my paint cups. Let me tell you.
Been there, done that, guilty.
I always have a roll of paper towel because if I knock it over, I will grab it and go split. Because a $2 roll of paper towels is a lot more replaceable than a laptop or a book. Because,
or your rug at home.
I do a lot of referencing from real life or from other artists like, here's a sci-fi scene and I like the way they did that. So I might use that as a reference in what I'm working on.
Yeah.
And if I knock it over, I don't want to cause problems.
Oh, now that you said that reference, listen, there's so much stuff out on online that if you're kind of stuck and you're not quite sure about something, you can go and look at something. I mean, you can paint, what is it? Copying something is the biggest form of flattery anyway. But
technically
it is.
It
is.
Totally.
I mean, you're not painting it to sell it. You're just painting it for yourself. But there's a lot of ideas out that you can go look at a miniature and go, wow, that's kind of cool. But do it in your colors. I've done that. I'm not going to say. I mean, I'll go and look and say, I have this idea, but I'm not. Like I said, I do painting because I like painting and they're my miniatures. Sometimes I'll go and look at something and go, I want to do this, but how? So I'll go look and I'll go, oh. Sometimes I'll do it and I'll go, I can't do that. So forget that. But sometimes it's like, this kind of turned out kind of cool. And of course, in my purple, I mean, it's going to be purple. But
now, I went and got water in this cup. I poured a tiny little amount in this cup. This is what I wash it in. This is what I would use to thin out my paints if I was using regular paints.
Which we're not.
No, we're not. Now.
You're moving along pretty well with that.
Oh, yeah. Now, as far as referencing, I wanted to do something that looked like a brick wall. So I got a picture of a brick wall. And then this is polystyrene. And I cut it. I spray painted it. I put the divots in there to make it look like bricks. And then I dry brushed it.
That looks amazing. That looks actually like a picture. Look at that.
So that one, once I had done the carving of the lines, it literally took me all of 8 minutes to paint.
That is really neat.
And that's how quickly dry brushing can work. But this was from a picture of a brick wall. Reference real life whenever you can, especially if you're doing like fur, like we'll have like dire wolves or, bears. And most people paint them like browns and grays.
Right.
And I'll do that, but then I'll be like, I want to make the Arctic version. So then I do I'll do like a blue undercoat and then do light gray and then white highlights. So you get that depth by doing that undercoat of the blue, and then everything else dry brushes over the top. So, there's all kinds of ways that you can do it. So with this one, I am almost
done.
Yep.
Now remember, she didn't just sit down and paint this. Now she's been talking and showing us stuff. So imagine, and it's going to look amazing because she's actually almost done with this. It's pretty cool.
Now, having used these speed paints, at this point, I need to, once I've done with this stuff, I need to let all of this dry.
For about how long?
I'll let it dry for 72 hours.
So about 3 days, okay?
So what
Plan
I'm
this out.
going to do with this, once it's dried, is I'm going to go back over it with metallics in the areas where I want metallics.
There we go.
And that will then most likely finish up the figure.
Oh. So maybe we could get you to come back on and bring it back and show everybody.
Yep, because we can always do another session on
There you go. See?
different paint types, how to use washes, how to use airbrushes as a brush on. Because
Ooh.
if you're in a pinch and you need to prime something, you can always use the airbrush primer here as a brush on. Shake it up real well, and then you won't get the coverage of the color, but you will get a surface that you can paint over. So it's really good if you're doing mold lines, you've cut them off, and you just want to touch up that little bit. There you go. That's all you need. So here we go. This character is fairly much done apart from detail.
Okay.
Gold pieces, I'm going to put a little detail on the face.
All right. Look at that, huh? Check this out. Wow, that's pretty neat. Take a look at this. There she is. Oh, wait. Where's that white? There we go. Much better when you do it like this. All right. So there we go. Focus it. See? So now remember that there's pieces there that look white right now because they're going to be gold. All right. So there she is. And I'm telling you, this looks so much better in person. It is. That's amazing. Wow. I'm always amazed. That is awesome. Now remember, she did this while still talking to us and showing us things and explaining things.
Now, with brushes, don't leave them sitting in your water because that turns your bristles and it weakens the glue holding. This is the ferrule of the brush to the handle. So don't leave it sitting in the water. And wash them when you're done with them at the end of the day. You know, you can use baby shampoo, you can use dish soap, you can use hand soap.
Look, talk about that soap, the brush soap.
Oh, brush soap is awesome. Basically, the
Art
difference
stores.
between a brush soap and a regular soap is that it's designed to condition your bristles. And it does more about taking the color out. Because this one used to be like a light tan. It's now kind of murky because I use dark colors. This is a dry brush. What it does is it not only is good at cleaning out, it conditions your brushes. Now, for a cheap makeup brush or a cheap craft store brush, they're a synthetic fiber. What the soap will do is it will clean it beautifully and leave it come back to a point so you can go back and use it, make it last longer. But for your expensive brushes that are the natural fibers, it protects them, it moisturizes them.
Mm-hmm.
And for the fact of spending $5 to $12, it lasts forever. And, you know, you're protecting your investment and your tools. And they normally come in a tin about this round or maybe about this round. I always advocate for carving out a little bit, put it in like a tiny little pill jar or a contact case, and that way you can take it with you.
There you go.
When you travel, and you can always clean your brushes. So, you know,
Wow.
and eyes. Eyes is another thing that everyone's like,
The
how do you do
eyes.
eyes? All right. Now, you can use a toothpick, a pin, whatever you want to use. There are things called dotting tools or nail art tools that have the very fine point. You can use those. The idea is you paint the eye socket black or dark brown. Now, sometimes when you put a wash over the face, you know, it'll settle in there and it'll work. The idea is that you are putting a ring around the eye of that color that defines the eye against the rest of the face. So you know that there's an eye there. Now, when you look at someone in the face, they're not bug-eyed and it's like, you see that circle. What you see is you see 3/4 or half a circle. So there you go. You do it with your dark color and then get a tiny little dot of white and you put a half dot there. And if you think you can do it, get a little dot of black. And again, you're not going to see all of the black. You're going to see half of it. So don't feel like you have to have these perfect pop eyes, because that only works for anime characters, not on your miniatures on the tabletop.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
But,
Okay.
yeah, we could do another session on
Yes,
working with
definitely.
washes.
Well, Fiona, it has been fun. We're running out of time, but this
All right.
has been so awesome. Thank you so much for
You're
coming to the show. Doubles. But
And-
that was great.
Come down, see me. I'm here at least twice a month. Ask you questions. Even if I'm painting, I'm more than happy to talk to anyone. Come on down and see us, and we'll catch you next time.
All right. So I guess, as always, that's it for the show. I mean, what more can I say? Thanks for being on the show. And as always, may the road rise up to meet your feet. May all your adventures be successful. And we will see you next Friday here. Where we're going to talk about some D&D, the movie, Dragon Con, and whatever else happens to come up. Put figs on here. Okay, you know what? I will do that. I will try to get some pictures from Fiona. I will put some pictures up there. But the best thing is, come to the collective.
And we have some of the ones that I've painted, the
On display.
monsters, for raffle.
Oh, that's right. You know what? Let's talk about that. So there's a raffle here. It costs $1 a ticket, and it's for
Various miniatures. We raffle one off each month, and the proceeds go to the Extra Life charity. So,
There you
and
go.
these range in price from $60 to $100 for the finished figures. So, $1 investment, you got to be in it to win it.
in it to win it. Yes, picks. We'll get some picks, but not today. We'll have to wait, and I'll get them from her, and then I'll post them, and there you go. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next Friday. Take care. All right.